One of the interesting things in the process, I think, is sort of finding the theme. Sometimes you go through these kind of soul-searching times where you begin to question, is this really our theme? Is there another theme emerging?
I think from very early on we were going to take on the telling of a story about coming of age. And because it was about kingship, it was the taking of responsibility.
One day, Simba, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
In this case, the story was telling you that it wanted to tell itself about responsibility.
The metaphor of how are you responsible for your own community, or how are you responsible in your own family? And I think that's something that's universal that people can relate to, and I think it's always appropriate.
And whether that is expressed as loyalty, whether it's expressed as taking your place in the circle of life, this notion that Simba takes responsibility for himself and realizes that although he's made mistakes, he must go back.
Rather than checking out of life because life is too hard, he chooses to actually go do something that's much more life-affirming. It was very important to embody that theme about taking responsibility and about the defining moment that happens when you choose to stand out. And we were talking about how are we going to teach the lesson? How are we going to convey it? And then Irene, as a joke, said, why doesn't he just hit him over the head?
Ow! Jeez, what was that for? It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
And that's one of those times where, the crazy idea becomes the great idea.
You think you have a theme, and as the movie pulls together, it becomes more apparent in each scene.
We wanted to not skirt the issue of death because it was essential to the story.
It's the big story that everybody deals with, which is about dealing with life in the face of death.
Simba, let me tell you something that my father told me. Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars.
Really?
Yes. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you. And so am I.
Life is about balances, and it's the contrast of it all makes it work. The sun only shines in contrast to the darkness. So the brighter you want the movie to be, the more celebratory and joyous you want it to be, you have to, at times, go into the darkness and show that side of the movie. You had to deal with the bottom rung of life in terms of loss to be able to celebrate the last scene of all the gain that this character goes through by experiencing the full spectrum of life, from joy to sorrow and from hopes to hurts, and all that spectrum is what we try to follow and lay out for the audience.
So it sort of goes beyond the quotation marks of storytelling, and it speaks to experience. It doesn't matter how bad things are or can get, you can get through it, and the human spirit can rise above everything.
The strength of animation, and certainly the team of artists that made Lion King, is that together we made something that not one of us could have done on our own. And that is a very magical thing, and I think that's what the magic of Lion King is.
We are all part of something bigger than us, that we all belong, and that our time here is brief, but that our impact can be everlasting if we will stay part of that circle of life.